just smashing it out. Got great style. Kicking out the back end. Can he knock it off? Can he beat Elliott Jackson? That is the question.
Check the time.
He's only got a few more seconds if he's going to want to get across the line.
And this is what it's all about. Here we are, the place to be here in New Zealand. We're talking about Rotorua. That's right, stop number 1 on your Crankworx World Tour. And the final day of action, your Rotorua Downhill presented by IXS. Coming your way hot and heavy. Well, it's Brad J here up in the booth, joined by the captain, our sport announcer for Downhill, Tristan Merrick. You're ready to get this thing started, man.
I am, man. It is a beautiful Sunday afternoon. The racing is not going to disappoint. I got a lap down this track earlier in the week, but there's a reason why I'm in the booth and we get to watch the pros.
When we talk about the pros, now there is a huge list of some heavy hitters going to be coming down this track today, right?
Oh, you name it. Everybody is here. Bruni, Blinkensop, Brannigan, Burrell. 1 second. Those guys all start with B, but there is a lot of other guys as well that are going to try and test their skills here today and try and tame this beast.
Well, the best of the best are representing out here in Rotorua, here in New Zealand. And it's time to check in. Third member of our team standing by. Let's check in with Hannah Bernard. Hannah?
Hey, thanks very much, guys. Well, I'm just up here on course, and as far as conditions go coming into the contest today, it is a little bit dry, a little bit dustier than normal. We've had a really hot week here in Rotorua, but I'm just up here at the final section of this course, and this is one of the most exciting parts of this course, right up here by the Schlatters. It is going to be an amazing contest today going into the downhill presented by IXS.
And thank you so much, Hannah, breaking things down there on the course. And speaking of the course, well, the lower section takes place in the bike park, but there's an upper section that is not in the bike park, and you had a chance to roll that. Should we take a look at that, Tristan?
Oh, really? We have footage of this? I don't know if we want to see this, but I did roll through it the other day. So this was my first lap down, and it is beautiful up here. The sun actually does cause a bit of issues from the glare off the lake, but it's just grassy sections. You've got the huge pond jump. Yeah, this is 7:30 in the morning. I hadn't had coffee. I didn't feel like jumping over it. Then you got the fadeaway here. So you're coming down. It's fairly steep. If you lock up the brakes, you're definitely going to slide out. But then it's just poppy and flowy as you're going through here. So many lines. It's more rutted up now. To the inside, you want to go far right there, double up over that, and then you get a smooth entry down into the woods here. This is where it's really difficult. The camera adjusts quicker than your eyes, so you're going in there high speed, and it just goes into the dark. You've got some hidden routes as well, and then, oh, geez, this made it on here. Yeah.
What the heck happened there?
Well, that's what happens when you don't read the sign that says drop. Now we're down into the larches here, so extremely steep. Really what you want to be doing is getting into the high lines and smoothing things out there. You're going to keep it straight. You got a couple of switchbacks. You see here, getting up here nice and smooth, but you can actually cut down far right to the inside and make the shortest amount of distance the whole way down the track. But the dirt, it's beautiful. I want to roll around in it. So very, very technical section here as you're working your way down into the darkness.
All right, well, that's a look at the top part of the course, but let's take a look and talk about some of the riders that we're going to be seeing out here when it comes to the girls and for the guys.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, in terms of the girls, we saw Jill Kittner. She qualified in first there. We're going to have to wait and see. Her own worst enemy is herself, if she's going to be able to kind of overcome her demons there and take that #1 spot, or if we're going to see Tracy Hanna, Casey Brown, or maybe even our queen of Crankworx there on her smaller bike, if she can harness the power of that new GT bike and make it down there fastest. And then for guys, I don't even really like playing this game because there's so many good guys. Yeah. I mean, we saw George Brannigan qualify in that #1 spot. He's a former national champ. But then we've got guys like, Fabian Burrell, who's coming out here, and he's not racing enduro anymore. What he's out here is he's testing some bikes that he's trying to develop for Canyon. He's being very coy about it. But when you've got tape all over the bike, and you're trying to hide it, it means that you're riding something that maybe everybody shouldn't be seeing.
Oh, that's a little kind of under wraps thing going on. All right, it is time for your Crankworx poll. And here it is right here. Which one of these racers is going to win Crankworx Rotorua DH presented by IXS? You got Marcelo right there. You got Sam in that #2 spot. Then Bruni, who was the winner last year. Then Brooke McDonald, or 5, none of the above. What are you thinking, man?
Well, I mean, it's going to be really difficult. I mean, with Marcello, sorry, he is a 3-time Garbo DH champion, so consecutive wins there. He's extremely fit, but this track, I don't know, you're going to have to risk it a little bit to come down, and we're seeing times only in that 2-minute 44-second for the top qualifier yesterday, so I think times are going to even dip a little bit more. There's a good race line that's bedded in, and everybody's just having fun. I think that's the one thing. It's not a beat-down track. It's not bike park up top, and even down below, it is in the bike park, but it's not destroyed, it's not hammered on, and there's no rock here. That's the one thing. The only rock that you see is the rock that they brought up, they put down into the ground to make the man-made rock gardens.
Well, we are just about ready to get this thing started. It is your Rotorua Downhill presented by IXS. It's coming your way. Stay with us. Don't go anywhere, and don't change that channel.
Never seen a place like this. You're swimming in the money that you kiss. So you never grow up. Never seen a place like you're swimming in the money like you never grow up.
Our people have been showing visitors around this place for generations. Today we can show you things our tipuna would never have dreamed of. It's not all hard out. Take it slow if you like. Visit online first to see what you haven't seen in Rotorua.
Crankworx Rotorua, brought to you by Skyline Rotorua Gravity Park, New Zealand's first year-round gondola-assisted bike park, and by 100% Pure New Zealand. And welcome back to your Rotorua Downhill presented by IXS. Now, Tristan, we have talked about so many different riders out there, but a guy that we haven't talked about is Andrew Needling. What about that dude?
I mean, he's the South African. He's one of the nicest guys in the pits. He's got some of the best style on a bike. Let it be a hardtail, let it be a downhill bike. I wish we saw more of him on the hardtail. I think he'd actually be pretty good at the pump track, but, you know, he's just a great guy. He's doing lots for cycling as well with trying to get more bike parks and that kind of operation going down in South Africa there.
Yeah, the South African crusher for sure. And we got right now Hannah Bernard, third member of our team, standing by with needles. Let's send it down to her right now. Hannah?
Hey, thanks very much, guys. Yes, I'm here with Andrew Needling. And now, Andrew, unfortunately, it's just a part of the gig. Downhill equals crashing. But how do you regain that confidence and getting back on the course?
No, you're right. I mean, it's part of the game. You're going to have crashes. I had a crash just rolling down the course, first run out of nowhere. It's going to happen. You know, it comes with demonstrated practice. So you've got to get out there again. You've got to do the obstacle that took you out. Just try it maybe a bit slower on your bike this time and kind of demonstrate yourself that you can do it again and again. And it's a kind of a mind game, really.
And now today's race is presented by IXS. You're an IXS athlete, so tell me what you're sporting here with your setup.
Yeah, I'm really happy we run the IXS full face helmet. Really confident in it. They've put a lot of hours of research development into the helmet. We used the proto, now it's production. So I'm really confident that I know the engineers want to build the safest helmet, so now I have that on my head.
Now coming into the contest here today, talk to me about the course.
The course is awesome. We've got a really all-round course, very flowy. It's awesome and open in the grass at the top, some jumps. Gets quite steep and technical in the woods, and then the bottom is amazing. It's one of the best finishes to a downhill race. Really open off canvas, some big jumps. The crowd's going to see some pretty good, maybe some crashes, but a lot of excitement coming into the finish area.
Absolutely. Andrew, best of luck out there today. We're going to see some good racing here, guys.
All right, thank you so much, Hannah. Well, we talk about Crankworx. It's a world tour. There's a king and a queen. And last year, Annika Bertien, she was the queen. But let's talk about this year, how it's stacking up so far in the first stop.
Yeah, well, I mean, it is a full-on war right now. Every event counts, and you can see right there, we've got a tie between Casey Brown and Annika Bertien with 250 each. Jill Kittner in first with 300. All three of them are in today's event, so there's 150 points on the line if you take that W here today, Brad. So extremely important that you finish up the week strong here and the whole event itself, because you know what? It's going to be a bit of a layover before we see them again, and they can start getting more points later on this summer in Leger.
Let's talk about the king. Bernard Kerr was the king last year, not this year. That's not going on for the case right now as far as king goes, right?
No, he needs to buckle down if he wants wins because he hasn't competed once. But if you look right here at the top of the board, the local rider, Matt Walker here, the Kiwi with 225. Thomas Lemoy, though, sitting right behind him with 210, and Thomas Slavik there with 190. So really, it's Matt Walker's day in that driver's seat there if he wants to continue to extend it. But there's a lot of other guys that'll be chomping at his heels there if they can take that win. I mean, 150 points, that can rocket you from fairly far down on the leaderboard or right up to the top if you're not careful.
Breaking down the education for your king and queen of Crankworx, but now it is time to take a look at the start list for the ladies today, and here's how it's looking.
Well, you can see right there, this is as we're working our way through. Annika Bertien qualified at 6 there, and then we're going to be going down. The last rider for females will be Jill Kittner there. Can she overcome her own demons and try and back up that #1 qualifier? It's, you know, there's no pressure in qualifying. You're just doing your thing. You just want that #1 spot. But to back it up is very, very difficult. You're going to be the last lady at the top of the hill, the last woman down the track.
Yeah, you know, I'll tell you what, you talk about demons and Jill Kittner. What do you mean by that? Is it because she had the crash last year that kept her kind of out of this race, or what's the deal on that?
Well, it's a combination of things, Brad. I mean, that is a very good point right there. She did have a very big off right away at the start of last year, which kind of, you know, I know before the season started, she made a claim, kind of Queen of Crankworx. That was hers to win. And,
yes,
well, not hers to win in that
yes.
sense, but you know what? She'd put it out there that she was going to chase that. She loved the idea of it, and then it went wrong. Right from that first practice going down this downhill track, just reached out, grabbed her, and brought her back down to the ground there. So, you know, I think today we are going to see a lot stronger Jill. I mean, she is been practicing more. She's been going about it. So it's hard though. You qualify #1, and if you're not used to that position, I mean, you're the last person at the top of the hill.
Yeah,
there's nobody else going down after you. It's you. So, I mean, there's going to be a bunch of the guys stacking up and getting ready after that, but she's going to be hanging out, warming up there solo, and then she's got to drop in, and then it's all up to her. There's nobody else. So if she comes down and she crosses the line the fastest, we give her a title. She's won today.
Sure.
She's going to feel good. She's got 150 points.
I'm with you.
She's going to extend that lead. She doesn't come down and win, well, then there's a lot to think about there. It's really a mental game.
Well, here's a look at Annika Bertien now, a queen of Crankworx, defending her title on course.
And look at that upper section there. It is bedded in, getting the high line into that. And it is so far up in the grassy section outside of the bike park. So that is the beginning of the track. And of course, so we're going to catch her. She's coming down into the lower section here. She's coming in. And last year, we actually saw her huck this little drop to absolute flat in the Enduro. She had the Head Slap of the Year award.
Oh, yes,
she tank slapped that. Let's see if she slows down a little bit. Now she's coming into the bike park, down in towards Honky's Hole here. So you pick up the speed. Again, the man-made rock garden right there. So she is on a trail bike, opting for the safer line around that. You know, she's got the downhill tires on, but you don't want to risk it too much. You know, for her, points are a big thing. She won that 25 large last year. You know, and hopefully she didn't spend it and already overextend her credit on that. Coming down in here, so different. You're not seeing them go through the 2 jumps there like they did last year. But she's trying to put down the pedal stroke. She's been having a really strong off-season. Tons of cardio coming down into the woodyard right here. Way steeper than you imagine, but going for that inside line there. Keeping her momentum going. Maybe in a bit of a hard gear there. She's not throwing down the pedal strokes right away into that next section. Again, extremely steep, going right down the kind of center there, rolling through the moguls. And now down into the very last section here, which will be Schlatters. So again, very knife edge, kind of actually catching me by surprise here. Like she's slowing down a little bit. Maybe she's got a bit of arm pump. I know it's an extremely difficult track. She is riding a 6-inch travel bike, Brad, while the rest of the ladies are out there on 8 inches of travel here. So let's see, not going on the hip jump there, bringing things around, keeping it cautious and sitting down. So maybe she had an off higher up on the course.
And there you go. That's the time for her. She's going to be off on that time of Emily Sagenthaler with the 3:29.7. That's what she's got.
Well, there we go. Getting over the gap right there. Looking like it's possibly the 2:06 coming into view right here. Yeah, that is Alana herself. So she is catching, or was catching there, Annika Beerton, as they're setting off in those full 1:30 kind of intervals there. So she's coming down, keeping way more speed to the inside of that line off the woodyard there. Let's see, she comes down here. She's going to double up these two moguls. There we go, double. Sliding things out a little bit. Now down in the last section. So you have lots of options in here, Brad, in the Slatter section. You can get up high on the line there. Or you can stick down low, safe. She's kind of going down the intermediate medium section there. Maybe she's going to get the double. No, break it. So that's actually a huge double and triple, which we're going to see the top riders do later on. But Alana here looking pretty fast on her run as she's coming out of that berm, down more jumps. So full rhythm section.
And 3:25.78. That's going to put her in second place right behind Emily Sagenthaler. She's got the 3:20.97. That is the time to beat right now, is 3:20.97. That's the one you're trying to beat. And Sophie Tyus now up next out of New Zealand, doing it for Banshee Bikes.
Yeah, so Sophie, again, I mean, all the Kiwis loving the fact that we brought Crankworx here last year. Well, this is year number 2. So again, through those man-made rock gardens, and the rocks have been placed where then you can actually get a flat quite easily if you don't find that smooth line. So Sophie looking good here. You can see though, Case in that jump. So losing a fair bit of speed where we've got our cable cam right there. But the track's getting roughed up. We haven't really had any moisture this year, Brad. The temperatures have been cooling down tonight, which is bringing out a bit, but we haven't had any major precipitation like we did last year. We had that huge rain delay on Saturday for the slope style. So the ground hasn't seen that. It's still summertime. You can see they're hitting a hole, blowing a foot off to the side there and losing a fair bit of momentum. So she's got to pick up the pace here now. She's going down into the lower section of the course. Getting the double, you can just see the dirt talcum powder right there. Lots of traction, but I mean, if you hit the wrong soft spot or a hole's kind of hidden up there, you can blow off fairly easy.
All right, well, here she is, Sophie Tyus right now. She's trying to get that 3:07. Not going to be able to do that. The times for her, 3:20 and ticking. As she's coming around the last little section here, she's going to jog that to the right. Going to get those pedal strokes in right towards the end. Cross the line, the time for her, 3:29.22. That's going to put her in third. Still off the pace, 3:20.97. Emily Sagenthaler has got the top time right now. That's the time to beat, 3:20.97, Tristan.
Well, here we go. Casey Brown out of the gate. I'm really surprised right now. She is on her trail bike, so she's not running the downhill rig, running the small travel rig here. But Casey, no stranger to taking risks and riding over her head. She's always riding with the boys. They're having a good time. And I don't expect her to really disappoint here today. I mean, she's probably going to huck everything. She's probably going to get everything here. Again, on that brand new team, riding for Trek Factory Racing this year. And, you know, in the past, we've seen her on different programs. Great to see her get the full support. So you can see slowing down, not risking it, but getting inside on that, not slowing down too much, and then full on the gas here. And again, she is on a small travel bike here, not a DH bike. And it's good to see her at least, she has gloves on today. Normally she has no gloves. And look at that, 0.66 back from Emmeline right now. Can she keep it together? She's got to use the bike's advantage right now on the traverse before she comes back down into Schlatters, which is the steep section, which we're on a smaller travel bike. You're going to have a slight disadvantage. Getting that inside line. Now keeping her momentum going right there. And we saw earlier this week, take the whip off when which is no, it's not to call it right there, but she won 3 out of 3 last year. She's 1 for 1 already this year. Let's see what she can do here. Down through the bottom part of Slatters. Not risking it, just finding that nice medium line right there. Extremely off camber and slippery. Not going on that inside, keeping the momentum going right here.
Look at this right now. Check the time of Casey Brown, your queen of Crankworx in 2014. Can she get the win here today or get a good time? Yes, 3:19.84 into the #1 spot for Casey Brown. Nice.
So showing right there, you can do it on a trail bike. Run what you brung, and she did that.
And now we focus our attention up top. Our next racer locked and loaded. Who do we got here, Tristan?
Yeah, we've got the Australian, Tracy Hanna, little sister to Mick Hanna right there. And no stranger to this course. She was having a blast here last year. Again, it's very difficult for the ladies, right? It is so abusive and aggressive on the forearms. You can get arm pump like nothing. Looking good here. She did a little bit of a different line into the road there. But this is a part of the track where you really got to let off the binders there, let off the brakes, keep it going. Is she going to go inside? So going through the rock garden right there and looking smooth. No flats or anything like that. You can see how rutted out that corner is, though, Brad. So, I mean, that's the kind of thing. It can kick you out sideways if you're not careful. See if she's got the...
Oh, look at that right there. That split is good stuff for Hannah right now. She's making her way down.
But she's got to lay it all on the line because Jill Kittner is up top right now getting ready for her assault on this track. It is all up to Tracy, though. So, again, going in that inside line seems to be even more inside than we've seen with the other ladies there. So it's looking like we've got 3 lines. There's outside, the middle line, which is really the inside line, and even more inside now. But Tracy looking good here, cutting that berm off, not even railing the outside of it. I'm intrigued to see what she's going to do down through here. If she's going to step up and get the double in the middle. So she's going that high line, losing a little bit, and look at the time. She's extending that lead right now. Not going for the big hip jump, but staying inside, smoking that, drifting it around.
Check the time right now of Tracy Hanna. Check the time. Look at that, 3:14.39, right into that #1 spot for Tracy Hanna. Wow, that's a good one.
Well, with that time right there, Brad, that is very similar to what we saw from Jill Kittner's qualifying time, which only can mean one thing. Then there was one, and she is up top.
And we're talking about the #1 qualifier going into now. She's got 2 wins so far. She won in dual speed in style, and she also won it on the pump track. Can she do it again here in the downhill, Tristan?
Well, she's no stranger to riding downhill. She's got that American flag sleeve, which means she is the national champ there in the States for DH. What has she got for us here? She's coming in. She's looking good. Going inside right there. Now down into Honky's hole. And then you got the bridges and the rock garden. So again, looking smooth for the rocks. You got to really finesse your way through there. Getting a little kicked out on that, so a little off to the side. Now down into these heavy braking bumps. She's looking smooth again. It's like a big, long left-hand corner there. So you kind of get a little bit loose, drifted out. Now here she is, keeping her momentum. Look at that, Brad.
Wow!
So the split time looking good there, 5.29, but she's got to keep it together down the hardest part of the track. If you're starting to get arm pump, this is where it can all go wrong. Getting that inside there, not getting stalled up on the corner. Again, though, she qualified first. Can she make good on that and get the win here today? Further extending her points lead in that Queen of Crankworx. Now down in the last section, Brad, what has she got for us here? She's going low line, looking a little sketchy, getting a nice little double in there, so she is risking it right up into that high line. Is she going to stay up?
Oh, look at that split. 5.5 on top of things right now. Here we go. Jill Kittner, the American. She's doing it right now, trying to beat a 3:14.39. Jill Kittner across the line. 3:09.55, your winner. Jill Kittner taking care of business here in Rotorua on stop #1. And not only that, that is her 3rd win out here. She won the Pump Track Challenge presented by RockShox. She won the Mons Royale Dual Speed and Style. She comes out here, drops a bomb, and wins the downhill presented by IXS. Amazing riding out of Jill Kittner. Definitely not disappointing. Let's send things down to Hannah Bernard, see if we can get a word with our winner. Hannah?
All right, Jill, this has been a great week for you, and you just claimed another gold. How thirsty were you to come into this contest after crashing in practice last year?
Yeah, I never really got a fair shot at this course, and it's pretty good in the dry, so wow, I'm just a little in shock, but that was a loose run, and man, it feels good to get it against some top quality girls, so happy.
Can you walk us through the winning run?
No, I can't remember it.
All right, well, all you have to know is you're taking home the gold. Congratulations, the gold medalist in the Crankworx Rotorua Downhill presented by IXS.
Well, we talked about shaking those demons off, and it looks like she shook those demons off out here today. And she comes from the wet area of Seattle. So this dry, dusty course, no problem for her. Look at that time. 3:09 takes the win. Tracy Hanna going to come away in that second place. And then you got Casey Brown from Canada coming in that third spot and just 10 seconds, 0.29 off that top time. Good stuff right there, though.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, you got to look, though, 8th, Annika Beerton way down, so that's going to lose her some points. The girls taking an advantage on that one, Brad.
Well, the dudes are locked and loaded. The guys are coming up next right here in Rotorua.
$30,000 trails in your pocket. Crankworx. Download the free app now.
Crankworx Rotorua, brought to you by SRAM. Passionate about cycling. And also brought to you by, famously, Rotorua, New Zealand's coolest hotspot, and Whistler Mountain Bike Park. Early bird bike park passes on sale through June 10th. That's Whistler Mountain Bike Park. And an absolutely gorgeous day for your final day of action here. Crankworx Rotorua, stop number 1. Tristan Merrick, the captain, Brad J. here up in the booth calling it for you. The ladies in the books, but the guys, they're not going to disappoint, are they, Tristan?
No, not at all. I mean, we saw Jill go 6 seconds quicker than her qualifying run right there, Brad. So the boys, they're going to be bringing the heat. So
You know what I like about what she said? She said she really didn't get a fair shot at this course.
Yep.
And yeah, because she got broken off last year. So she didn't get a fair shot at it. But this year, I think she got her fair shot, her fair licks in.
I think she got more than that. I mean, she got leftovers to take home there with that win. So, and taking a stranglehold of that queen of Crankworx right there. I mean, another 150 points, adding that to the bank. She was already in the lead. Now she's really in the lead.
Yeah, you're looking at 450 points now with 3 wins for her here in the first stop. Pretty good. All right, time for the Crankworx poll. Let's get down to business on that one. Well, here we go. Crankworx poll. Which one of these racers is going to win Crankworx Rotorua Downhill presented by IXS? I mean, what do you think? Talk to me about the names there.
Well, I mean, you got the 3-time Garbo DH champion. You got Blankensop, who won the DH title overall last year. You got Bruni, who won last year's Rotorua DH. And you got Brannigan, who won the qualifier here, who's no stranger to winning on the home soil down here in New Zealand. So, I mean, it's kind of... Like I said, I don't really like playing that game because, you know, I get to know all these guys and they're all doing, they're all going to lay it on the line. But, I mean, I think deep down, I have my pick. I won't share it till the end.
You're not going to share it to the end?
No.
Well, then could you write it down on a piece of paper and fold it? And then
Okay, well,
let's
in the next ad break, we'll write down our picks. We'll fold it up on a piece of paper, and then at the end we can see who wins. Well, we already know who you want. Unless it has an unless those colors don't run, that ain't yours.
Right. Now, you and I already saw what you did on the upper half of your course preview, but now the lower half is in the bike park. Let's take a look at the course preview of the lower half, huh?
Sounds good. Geez, well, I better change the Wi-Fi password on my GoPro here because you guys have the whole run. So you can see there, going to the outside. Really what you want to be doing is going down that right line. That is the rock garden. And then extremely fast as you're booking into the woods here. Nice and loose. You can get a good drift on there. And do a little double up section. Again, your eyes having a hard time adjusting. That fence there for the luge track seems like it's lower than it actually is. Now we're down into the bottom here, into the woodyard. I didn't think this was that steep last year, Brad. Extremely steep. The next run, I did try going to the inside. There's not much of a berm, so you would lose a bit of traction in there. Then you're coming down into that second part of the woodyard, jumping down, and then this is into the whoop section here. You can double up through that, and then you're now down into Schlatters. And this is so fun, but you're riding on a knife edge. You got to try and get through here. You can see it's already blown out. You get into the high line right there. There's a natural double up in that section. Then you can kind of go down a triple here, what we're going to see from the pros do it. And then the massive hip jump over there. Like I said, I hadn't had coffee. I've got a list of excuses of why I didn't do that. And then you're railing out through the other section. But it's a huge hip into another hip and then into another set of doubles. So extremely technical track.
Oh, yeah, okay, I get that, but I can see, was that your first time running it? I mean,
first timer.
And you filmed then? Why didn't you go a second time and film it the second time? Then you could have hit all that stuff.
I got too many things to do, man. Too many other trails to ride. I was like, I want to go ride Mr. Black. I want to go ride the Fuzz. I wanted to get everything done there in one day. I only had a little bit of time, so I had to make the most of it.
Time sensitive for sure. All right, let's take a look at the guys we're going to be seeing out here. They're going to be coming down here in just a moment, breaking that down for you. Here's a look at it right. Well, that's the ladies right there. How things. That was our start list from the ladies. That was the lady we just finished up with Jill Kittner taking the win on that one and making that her third win on the first stop here in Crankworx. So good stuff out of her, going back-to-back wins, and that puts her large and in charge for that driver's seat for the Queen of Crankworx. But how about the guys? That's the ones we've been talking about. They're the ones that are going to be taken to this course here in just a moment. Yeah,
it's all about them fast gentlemen. It's their turn to do their deed up on the track there, and I expect to see a lot of risk. I know I was, before we came online here, I was flipping through Instagram. I saw that when Masters was updating that Brannigan was doing a gap that nobody else was doing up in the larches there, kind of launching off the outside of this ledge. You know, there's threading the needle, and then there is doing what he's doing, which is like kind of a little crazy. He was just feeding it in there, so that should go good. But this is the order. We're going to see things in there. Notables like Sean McCarroll, David McMillan right away. They'll be dropping in. Of course, a little Canadian flag in there as well. And then we're just getting faster and faster there. Fabian Burrell back there as well. Lewis Hamilton, Kieran Bennett, Matt Walker. He won the Enduro earlier this week, so doing everything that he can here. He's got the stranglehold. Brendan Fairclough, maybe he's going to have a little surprise. We saw something earlier on. Blankensop's been loving the track so loose. Elliot Jackson, we saw him got second last year. Can he back up that result? Brooke McDonald, and then, of course, the last man down the hill. The guy's doing that nobody else is doing there, the gap up on top. George Brannigan, can he back up that #1 qualifier? It's going to be a hard tell. I mean, you're going to have to risk it for the biscuit.
Risk it for the biscuit. You heard it from the captain right there. You saw the names, man. If that's not an invested interest that you need to stick around for that, that's coming up. The big names who are downhill on the way for you right here at Crankworx Rotorua here. Your downhill presented by IXS, the man. That's right, taking to the course right after this.
I'm the baddest mother up in here, and I'm about to make it clear. It's going down like I told you. I'm the baddest mother up in here. I'm gonna rock you. I'm gonna rock you. I'm gonna rock you. I'll have you begging for mercy, begging for mercy. Oh, I'm dangerous.
30,000 trails in your pocket. Trailforks. Download the free app now.
And stoked to have you guys on board now. We get on board with the guys on course right now here. Your Crankworx Rotorua downhill presented by IXS. Racing going on. The dudes taking to it now.
Yeah, straight into the action right here. You can see top time of the day at 2:34, so that is cutting out a ton of time from yesterday's qualifier. Phil Atwell in that #1 spot, but Ruben coming down here, hucking off that last part of the woodyard. And again, it's so steep. You got to find the transition there. Here we go. Getting the double, casing that a little bit. He is going for broke. I guess when you're on home, so why not show off for the fans right here? Getting a nice little double. Now coming up high. Again, it's a slippery slope there. Is he going to keep it going? No, dropping down just into another double before airing out that hip jump. The knuckle Brad is huge on that. And taking the next one into another one
nice.
there, right there.
So the time in, that's a 2:52.78. That's going to put him in 6th for Ruben Ollerenshaw right there for the Kiwi. As we go back up on course for our next racer, Eric Mersch, we should be seeing here next. That's him. That's a look at him. Plate number 50.
Yeah, got that flashy kit on right there. Again, I can't stress how fun the upper section of the track here. Up top there is so smooth. There you go. That's how you put your helmet into the handlebars.
Oh, man.
There's no way to like really pump into that section. It's just a vertical drop literally onto the road. So you can roll it, but at race pace, you don't want to slow down. So you can huck it like that, and that's how you smash the front of your helmet right off the handlebars there. But he's still looking good, trying to keep those pedal strokes growing here. So getting that first gap across there. Looking smooth on that. We saw a bunch of the ladies not opting for that, no needing to risk it. If you're still feeling fresh, you can pedal around it and keep up a fair bit of momentum. So throwing the binders on there, going to the middle line outside of that last woodyard there feature. Getting the pump manual down there, so going inside on that, getting the double, and drifting things out. Now coming down into Schlatters there. This is one of the funnest sections. Again, the dirt, though, so loose. We just haven't had any of the precipitation, so the rut's getting a little bit blown out. You don't want to lean in them too much. Getting just up and over that hip there, which is good. The last thing you want to do, we saw some people earlier on today, Brad, not make it up over that hip, not a beautiful thing.
All right, we're going to take our attention next up. That looks like a 2.41 for Ruben Olershaw. That was his. And now we go back up on course right now for our next rider coming down. This looks like Sean McCarroll now.
Sean running a pretty high seat on the bike there, but no stranger to being a legend within the sport of mountain biking here. Okay, so getting a little bit of manual action coming down into the road there. Doing a little different, but still getting the head buck down through the rock garden.
Yeah, Sean McCarroll from Australia, now living in Rotorua.
I mean, it's the mountain bike mecca down here. Why wouldn't you move here? I mean, it's like, oh, I could live in Australia where everything in the bush will kill me, or I can come live in Rotorua where I can tromp through the bush and nothing's going to kill me. So again, getting up and over the gap there. Not in touch with that first split time, though, unfortunately. But still looking fresh, rocking that amazing T-shirt there. Got to run the Magaza forever there. So throwing the brakes on, getting around on that inside of the line. You know he's going to want more. He's got the local knowledge here. See if he can make up any time as he comes down to the bottom part of the track. Airing things out there, looking smooth on that. Cutting off the berm there. So last year we saw them railing the berm, and they did retape it a little different compared to last year, Brad. A couple of the corners taken out of there, so you got to really risk it getting in the off-camber section. So not coming in there, the double, then into that casing. And that's how you get a quesadilla on that back tire right there.
And here we go, Sean McCarroll. He's going to cross the time for Sean McCarroll, 2:55.23. Sean McCarroll, a little roost to the fans right there. Going to put him in 7th place. Now we go back on course. Here we go. Next up, plate number 26, David McMillan.
Yeah, David McMillan. He took the party shirt off, which means he is all business right now. Not having a good qualifier, but one of the Van Zak riders there, so they're living out of a van most of the years. They tour around Europe, doing the World Cups. Obviously saw him in France last year as well for Les des Alpes. Won the official drift off, or unofficial drift off that the photographers held there one day. Okay, he's having a bit of fun. A little manual to nose manual down that section there. Expect to see him throw down some of the biggest, nastiest whips on the bottom part of the track here. Coming down, so again, that section getting really rough through there. You got to get on the brakes early here, but as we can see, really out of touch here with time. 26 seconds back, but throwing it out sideways for the fans.
Yeah, that's too much to try and make up, and he realizes that he's just going to kind of coast his way down.
Now, one of the riders who's got all the potential in the world. It's just a matter of putting the puzzle together. And you know, one of those guys, he stresses the having fun point, and with that, you know, sometimes the race results do take a back seat if you don't have the fitness and everything to back it up. But he's a great guy, and it's awesome to see him out here shredding, having a good time. So
yeah, happy to see him roosted up right there. Well, he's going to be out of touch with that time. So now we go back up top, and this is Peter Bethel next up, plate 34. He's out of Auckland, so the Kiwi racer now on course.
Yeah, he's looking good as he's coming down in the lower part of the track here. Still staying fast and fresh. He's coming down there. So Peter changing it up, kind of getting bucked around in that rock garden. Again, no easy feat. Trying to set up early, getting out of them braking bumps. But as the braking bumps get wider across the trail, Brad, there's just nowhere to escape them. You have to go through it. Just hold on for dear life. Try and hope the bike doesn't compress up too much and throw you off to the side.
And looking at his time ticking away, 2:15 and ticking right now. Phil Altwell, you could see that split from him. That was a 2:34.67. That's what he's trying to compete with here for the Kiwi, Peter Bethel.
Well, Phil would have been loving the track here today. Nice and loose. Dusty compared to the homeland of Great Britain where he's from.
Sure.
Shout out to our boy, Seth Patton. I'm sure he's tuning in right now, checking out the action. Keeping a tabs on all of his riders that do the racing throughout the rest of the year. Peter Bethel coming down right now. Okay, so getting the double, getting to the inside. So that's the first time we've seen that. And then just barely getting up and over, stretching things out on that hip jump.
Peter Bethel, here we go. The Kiwi going to come across. That's going to be 2:53.71. Top 10. He's in 7th place right now for Bethel. 8.09 off that top time of Atwell. So not going to be able to hold on to that one for long because you got some big names on the way, Tristan, that's for sure.
Exactly, but how cool is that hot seat right there, Brad? I mean, Phil hanging out, maxing, relaxing on it, chatting with some fans. There's our former king of Crankworx right there, Kerr, hanging on the side. But
Phil's been busy, man. He's been competing pretty much all weekend long. He was out there in speed style. We saw him out there in pump track as well. Here he is sitting in the hot seat right now here at your, of course, your downhill presented by IXS as we go back up.
Well, we got the 57 right now. Philip Ricard coming through. Let's see. Actually, that's not the 57. 242 right there. That's Connor Hamilton, brother to local Lewis Hamilton here. So Connor took the win in the Giant Toa Enduro the other day for, I think, our senior men's category. He wasn't able to... We'll have to see him jump up into the pro ranks next year, but racing pro here today, so no stranger to the Skyline Bike Park, throwing down the laps on the regular basis. Let's see what he's got, if he's going to come in and throw one down for the crowd. So roosting it out there, not going inside, going double, so not opting for the triple, then getting up and over that hip, tagging it a little bit. So that's going to cause him to lose a little bit of speed here as he rails out the outside, trying to stretch it out on that double.
Hey, that'll do it right there. Connor Hamilton out of Rotorua, the local boy out there doing it for Oakley in Commonwealth. And then next up, we go back up top. Here we go. Your fellow countryman here, Tristan.
Yeah, Philip, all the way from Bromont. So former place where we used to have a World Cup back up there in Canada, a sweet little bike park. So you know he's got laps in him, but completely different here. Pre-jumping into the road crossing there, now down into Rotorua. So again, those rocks, Brad, I can't stress, like the camera doesn't really do it justice. You roll in and there's these big razor sharp rocks sticking out. So you really got to find the line through there. Otherwise, you're going to just tear your tire apart. You're going to get a flat.
Yeah, line choice is paramount when it comes to that rock garden. Clearing the gap right there, putting that thing down solid for Philip.
But not in touch, 8+ seconds back. So Phil definitely having issues yesterday in his qualifying and making good on it here today with that 2:45. So again, quick time right there for him. We're gonna have to wait and see. Philip here now coming down, getting the double, looking smooth. So again, the riders cutting off the berms there, Brad. So different technique. You're not railing the outside, so you really got to pressure the inside of your foot and the tires there. Try not lose a bit of traction, which you can slide out on. And then you can see they're out of control, throwing the binders in, drifting into that rut corner. And then now coming over, so it's again hip jump, double, then into another jump, then into another jump. So lots of rhythm sections here.
Yeah, 25879, 15th place. Let's take it back up top next. We got Emer Davies now. He is out of Great Britain, doing it for the Orange Factory Racing. He is now on course.
Coming out to test his wits here again. So full winter time for everybody in the Northern Hemisphere. I know with the dust right now, it's like a little confusing here. I'm used to the wet mud and roots. Then you're coming out here, it's dusty, it's dry, you need sunblock, you're getting burnt. Okay, so there you go. Going down through the Rotorua there, but he's looking like he's carrying good speed, maybe overcooking the corner a little bit there. But keeping things smooth up and over the jump there, into the next jump. Again, you got to stay nice and low. You don't need any unnecessary hang time right now. It's not a whip off or anything like that. Keep it on the ground. Keep the pedal strokes going. Down into the woodyard. Again, I just can't stress how steep that is. And he's going outside corner, so not risking it on the inside. Keeping the momentum going right there so you can stay off the brakes. You don't have to brake into it. Pre-jumping, then double, single out of the woods. And then again, opted for the berm. So again, different lines here. Okay, losing it. You can see how slippery it is right there. So,
right there.
You know, right, if it's getting blown out from some of the other riders. Again, we had amateurs earlier on today. And then you did your final practice run earlier on. Then all of a sudden, the track is completely different from what you saw. Stretching it out there, trying to just get up and over that hip jump.
Well, Davies, here we go. The time for him, 2:55.06, top 10, 9.44 off the top time. Now we got Fabien Cousini now out of France doing it for Polygon on course.
You can see him looking good right there. You got to get high into that, so it's a shoot right away as it drops out of view there. And then you've got all the other section up top. So again, we saw it in our GoPro course preview. And hucking it right there. Couscous. really kind of risking it as he's coming down in this section and rock and roll. Hopefully he's not trying to go for it too much there. Looking smooth as we saw last year. A lot of guys getting flats through there, Brad, so you don't want anything like that to go wrong.
No, not especially if you're on a good time, but it looks like he is going to, Couscous going to be off that top time here. Yeah, 5.36 off the top time so far.
Well, you can definitely claw some back in the last section if he's still staying fresh on the pedals here. And then when you drop into Schlatters, if he's willing to risk it and let that bike go wild, open up the throttle, and let it kick out to the side there. Couscous always a competitor here at Crankworx, always out here with a big smile on his face. We saw him last night in the Deep Summer Photo Challenge. He was one of the riders for a team, so great to see him kind of pulling triple duty. Not only is he managing a team, his riders, shooting photos, racing, he's just doing it all.
That's what he's an all-around rider. 6.99. That is the time that he is off. Phil Atwill's time is a 2:45.62. That is the time to beat. Couscous is not going to challenge that one as he's coming across. What's going to be the time checking in with a 2:53.47. Top 10. He's in 8th right there for Couscous. Now let's take it back up top. Here we go again. Our next rider, we're talking about Rupert Chapman now out of Christchurch. The Kiwi doing it for Bergamot Hayes factory team.
Another one of the guys who's been doing it all week long here. Seeing him in the Enduro, we've seen him in the Air DH, we've seen him in everything so far this week. Another one of those riders, he's got Eddie Masters as team manager, so he's following lead there.
The Iron Man of Crankworx for sure.
Yep.
Well, when there's King of Crankworx title up for grabs, you got to compete in everything to have a shot at winning it.
Well, you got to use home court advantage, right? I mean, we're down here, we see the Kiwi domination happen down here. I'm not too sure why it doesn't happen when we're in Whistler for the local guys. They don't really have home track advantage so much. I think it's just because everybody rides that bike park so much.
Everybody goes to Whistler.
Yeah. Can you guys maybe not come ride our bike park all the time and we'll build some new tracks and then we have the advantage to leg up on everybody else? But
I don't know if that's going to happen anytime soon.
No, not at all. So air note big there. Opting for that no glove style. Let's see what he's got down through here. Again, looking smooth, again, getting up and over, keeping it to the inside. So doubling there, kind of almost coming a little short on the triple, up and over the hip jump. Catching a little bit of arrow to that as he's railing the outside of the corners. Oh, almost going over the bars there. And looking like slotting into 4th position right there, so just off the podium right now.
Yeah, 2:51.33. Tristan, that's his time. Top 5 right now for Rupert Chapman on that one. And we go back up top on this course. Maybe Burrell should be up next, the French rider we should be looking at here in just a moment. What a great day here for your final day here at Crankworx Rotorua, downhill presented by IXS. There's a look at Fabian right there. Canyon Factory Enduro team. Doing it on the downhill. Here's Burrell.
He doesn't race Enduro anymore. He is out here. And if you look at that bike, riding a prototype Canyon rig here. Again, no stranger to risking it or anything like that. The 2-time world champion before. Looking like, oh, there you go. That is how you get into it. Pre-jumping further back. Appears that he's riding slow a little bit, but he is... I was confused at what was going to go on this week. I was chatting to him. I was like, yeah, you're gonna ride fast. That is what Fabian does. And it seems like he's maybe slowed things down a gear here. It'd be interesting to have a chat with him if he's just taking it easy. But riding with a prototype bike, testing things out. Expect to see him back in Leger in fine form where he's won worlds before, Brad.
Yeah, well, he is out the back on this one, so he's not going to be able to compete for that top, and you can see where that time is ticking away. I'm having Burrell, so he's not going to be able to challenge that. Still, Phil Atwill, he's the guy, 2:45.62. Phil holding on to the #1 spot. Guillaume Galvin from France, 2:47.96. He is in 2nd. And there's a look at plate 20 right there. Lewis Hamilton out of Rotorua, doing it for Troy Lee.
Well, he got 2nd in the Air DH yesterday, Brad, or sorry, on Friday there. So no stranger to the tracks here, always riding. So again, not pre-jumping in like we saw from Burrell, but his time is still looking really good as it's clicking on here. Let's see if he can get down to that split. Phil already ahead on that one as he's coming down in the next section. Again, the Woodyard right there. He's probably spun more laps than anybody of this bike park. He's one of the first people I met here last year when I showed up, hanging out. Just working down in the rental shop, spinning laps before racing World Cups all last year. And then obviously we saw him in France and Whistler as well. So 14+ seconds back.
Yeah.
So maybe having some issues up top on the grassy section. That's the one thing. The grassy upper part of the track, that's not something that's open regularly. It's a locked gate access. Just farmer fields that they kind enough to open up for us here so we can shred down to the bottom.
So a lot of guys don't get a chance to ride it only until Crankworx comes to town. Then you get a chance to ride it. So a little tough to kind of gauge what's going on. That's why you can also see his time is 15 seconds off the top time. Phil Twill holding that down. 2:45.62. That's what the guys are looking to go. So Phil coming across. Let's check his time in here. That'll be the top 20, 3:01.23. Next up, let's go back up to Kieran Bennett, plate number 33. There's a look at him right there.
Yeah, Kieran from down the South Island of Christchurch. Former World Cup racer, racing all over the world. We've seen him in Whistler lots in the past, mainly staying on the islands down here right now. And this is a guy, look at him, blazing speed through that rock and rolla section right there, slowing down, cutting to the inside. Let's see if he can get to that split quick enough here if he's in touch. Phil's time, so Phil laying down a scorcher earlier on today, but 0.75. If he can get the pedal section across here. I was chatting to him the other night, and he is hungry to try and redeem himself. Last year got an 18th, Brad, but he had a huge stack higher up on the course. Let's see if he can keep it together down into the bottom part here.
But can he make it up? Can he make this time up? He's within striking distance.
0.75 is possible. You just got to risk it. Rail in the corner. Let's see if he can keep the momentum up. So going high line, drifting down to the bottom. As he's now down in Schlatters here. Let's see what he's got. So he's cutting inside, drifting out, just staying the double right there. This could be a great run, getting the hip jump there, styling out through the rhythm.
Here's Kieran Bennett, the Kiwi coming across. What's his time? 2:47.12. Second place for the Kiwi. Not being able to take Phil Twill from Great Britain is 2:45.62. Now we go back up. This is Matt Walker, yet another Kiwi on course.
Well, this is our current leader right now of King of Crankworx. He's got the points total. We saw him win the Giant Toa Enduro earlier on this week, and looking ragged coming into Rock and Rolla here. We saw him in Pump Track. We saw him in Whip Off. Guy going full duty. Look at him getting hucked on the rocks there, but keeping it going, almost hitting the side of the bridge here. And looking like he is on a good one right now. So King of Crankworx, this is the title that he's going for. If he can get the lead down here, Brad, which he already does, and he's up. He's up by over a second right now. Let's see if he can keep it going. He wants to maximize his points down here in New Zealand before we see him later on this summer. He got picked up by a factory World Cup team this year, the Cube Action team. So he's been putting in the work in the off-season, wanting to make it count come race time, and we're seeing that right now. Look at him styling it out, going to the outside, railing that corner. Let's see what he's got here, risking it down this part.
Well, Matt Walker in the lead for the King of Crankworx. He won the Giant Toa Enduro a few days ago, and he's currently on the fast pace. Check the time for Matt Walker. Here he comes. What's the time going to be? Matt Walker into number one, 2:44.38. Matt Walker, the lead for King of Crankworx. Now he's got the lead out here in your Rotorua Downhill presented by IXS. Wow. There's a look at it right there. Walker, 2:44.38. Atwill, 2:45.62. Bennett in that third spot, 2:47.12. But there's some big names, Tristan, still to come.
There is a lot of people that are going to want to knock him off the top spot there. And the next guy right here, Harry Heath, one of the fastest riders out of Great Britain, doing it for that Norco Factory Racing team there. Todd Shumluck hanging out earlier on this week, watching all his riders, getting a little bit of training prep here. Getting a little sign there. Smile, downhill ahead. I think I should say smile, drop off ahead. Let's see here if Harry's able to keep it up again. Another one of those riders, maybe not used to riding the dusty, loose conditions here. And you can see out of touch already there. Looking like a bit of grass on the outside of the handlebar there. So maybe getting bitten by the snake up top there in the upper part of the track, but still holding it together on the downhill part here in the lower section of the track. Again, and it's so loose through there, Brad. You can drift it out, you can get wild, and then you got this perfect, amazing dirt with the jumps. So having a bit of fun. You can tell, you know what, he probably realizes he stacked it up top. time to just make sure I get down to the bottom in one piece.
Yeah, it's one of those things. You have a fall, you know you're going to be out of touch. If you have a mechanical, anything goes wrong, you're not going to be able to beat the rest of them. So you're just going to go ahead and have a little fun out here, it looks like.
Well, any time between the tape is a good time because it gets you that bit of practice, gets you into that mindset to get ready for the rest of the year. And again, it's winter for everywhere else in the world other than the Southern Hemisphere. So a little bit of extra practice for him is going to go a long way here for Harry Heath. He's coming down, but Matt Walker, Brad, I mean, that was a fast one, 2:44. But that time is only on the qualifying time of what we saw there from Brannigan. So Brannigan's moving quicker. We're going to see him jump up on that.
Yeah, 3:22.32. So that's not going to be anywhere near the 2:44.38 that Matt Walker, the Kiwi, holding on to that top spot right there with the fastest time so far of the day. And I'll tell you what, we've seen a bunch of riders so far, but we have yet to see the top 10 qualifiers that's coming down. There's a look at Walker. He's chilling in the hot seat. But let's take a look at how things are stacking up right now. There you go. Matt Walker on that top spot. Wow, what a time that is, Tristan, 2:44.38.
Yeah, a very great time right there. And is it going to hold? That's going to be the question. If people are risking it and they're going down, not going to go so well. So he's looking comfy right now, though, Brad.
All right, well, more. Our top 10 qualifiers, they're coming your way right here, right after this. Rotorua Downhill, presented by IXS.
Never seen a place like this. You're swimming in the money that you kiss. So you never grow up.
Never seen a place like it. Swimming in the money like you never grow up.
Our people have been showing visitors around this place for generations. Today we can show you things our tipuna would never have dreamed of. It's not all hard out. Take it slow if you like. Visit online first to see what you haven't seen in Rotorua.
Crankworx Rotorua brought to you by Skyline Rotorua Gravity Park, New Zealand's first year-round gondola-assisted bike park. Also brought to you by 100% Pure New Zealand. Just an amazing day for your Crankworx Rotorua Downhill, presented by IXS. Brad J. Tristan Merrick up here in the booth making the call for you. Our top 10 qualifiers coming up in downhill on the way here in Rotorua, New Zealand. First stop on the Crankworx World Tour. So good stuff coming along for you right now, and we're happy to be bringing it to you. All right, well, we talk about a lot of things. We've been doing this theme this week, talking about the big number. And let's break down the big number and what the big number is basically all about.
Well, who are we talking about? We're talking about Loic Bruni, the guy who won it all here last year for your DH presented by IXS. And, well, he was undefeated last year. His winning percentage, 100%.
It's pretty good.
Pretty good. I mean, he went to both races. He was here in Rotorua, and then he was in Les Deux Alpes, and he won both of those. So he was undefeated in all his races that he competed here last year at Crankworx.
Okay, well, that's number one, but we have 3 numbers to talk about. What's your second number you want to talk about?
With the Ying, you got to have the Ying, and 25 points. That's what he lost the DH series by last year here at Crankworx, because he didn't show up in Whistler, he did not race, and he lost by 25 points to his buddy, Sam Blinkensop, who walked away with that coveted title in its inaugural year, and with that check.
Shame on you, Bruni, for that one. But number 3, what's the third number we're talking about?
Well, the third number is 7,183.
Wow, that's a big number.
And that is his percentage of milliseconds that he won by last year in both of those races combined over his nearest competitor.
And those, basically, that's your big number breakdown right there. And those are some pretty big numbers. Also, that's a pretty low number right there that Matt Walker's holding on to with 2:44.38, Tristan.
That is, but I mean, he's got Loic Bruni coming down. It's not going to be easy, though.
All right, well, speaking of Matt Walker, let's check in with Hannah Bernard standing by Mr. Matt Walker in the lead for King of Crankworx. Hannah, take it away.
Hey, thanks very much, Brad. Well, I'm just here with the current leader, Matt Walker. He's secured a top spot with the 2:44.38. Matt, how confident are you feeling with your time right now?
Yeah, there's still a lot of fast guys to go. We'll see how it goes. The track is really blown out now. Super loose, super dusty. So we'll see how they go, really. I've sort of done what I can. We'll just wait it out.
All right, so you're the current leader for the King of Crankworx. I want to ask, do you have a strategy behind that? Do you choose certain events to kind of go full-blown or kind of pull off and maybe play it safe a little bit?
Not really, just more machine gun tactics, like just enter as many events as I can and hopefully I hit points eventually. For this event, I was nursing it a bit just to make sure I got points for this event and extend the lead a little bit, hopefully. But I don't know, we'll see. There's still a lot of fast guys to come, but fingers crossed.
Yes, there is. Top 10 coming up next. Guys, back up to you.
Oh, yeah, thank you so much. Back to racing. Alexandre Feoli now up next for you. He's a guy who turned heads back in 2015 as a privateer, doing things in a big way, finishing up a top 10 in Val de Sol.
Yeah, young guy here getting picked up that Polygon team, hucking it onto the road right there. It's a French rider, always looking for domination on any soil that he gets to put them tires on. Obviously coming down right now, getting closer to that split. Matt Walker's time might be looking pretty good right now. Alexander coming in right now, coming into those jumps. So you got to stay low over them. Again, it's a massive gap. He is 1.37 back, so not 100% out of the game right now, Brad. You can make it up if you have a great bottom section of the track. But it all comes to committing through the woodyard right there, getting the downsides of the transition, keeping your speed going, staying off the brakes.
You got to manufacture speed at this point when you're behind.
Yeah, you got to think everywhere where you might be touching the brake. You can see him roost in the corner there. Everywhere you're going to touch the brake, you don't want to be touching it because you want to keep that momentum going here. So again, looking loose and rugged down through that bottom part. Still throwing some style in before the hip jump, getting up and over on that.
Yeah, look at the time. There we go. 2:45 ticking away. 2:45.61, 1.23 off. But that's going to put him in second place for the young gun out there showing up and representing. This could be a good turnout for him. Could he stay in the top 10? Another top 10 finish for him could mean good things.
Yeah, that will go the distance right there. But as we saw from Matt Walker saying, the track is getting loose. It's blown out. Yeah. So, again, the no moisture this week, which is obviously a great thing for the event, but makes it a hard time on the tracks. They just start to get loose. The rut that was there just is non-existent by the time you come down on that next run. So, riders did practice earlier on today. Matt Walker looking comfortable down there. But
we saw Matt Walker there, but we also saw...
I think he's chirping to somebody on the side.
Is it Bernard Kerr that's standing there talking to him down there? Bernard Kerr is the defending King of Crankworx, got injured, so he's going to have to say bye-bye to that one, right?
Well, I mean, it's not over until it's over, but... you know, it's you got to make sure you get those points. So him not competing here today, kind of detrimental towards that. Oh, right out of the gate, a broken chain for Brendan Fairclough. Well, he doesn't like to pedal as it is, so this gives him the advantage. He's just going to have to coast his way down, looking down in disbelief.
What a heartbreaker, and to come out that way and
Well, you can't give up, though. We've seen Aaron Gwynn harness the power of the chainless runs. Let's see if Brendan has fun on the lower section here. Yeah, it keeps looking down. Maybe it's still stuck in there. That's the one thing. You can break a chain, and as long as it comes out, it's okay. But if it's dangling from the dreidler, the last thing you want to do is have it get caught up in the weight. It'll tear it all apart, put you over the bars, which can be a huge hazard to yourself. But I guess maybe he's been doing a bit of training in the offseason. He's got some horsepower in those legs finally because he snapped the chain right out of the gate.
My gosh, yeah, just taking care of business on that one. So unfortunately, not going to be close to Matt Walker. He's your leader, 2:44.38, fastest time of the day. We're running out of competitors.
That's right. I mean, we are getting down into the nitty-gritty right now.
Yeah, 8 more to go as Brendog makes his way down.
I'm just ashamed to see. I felt like we were going to see a lot out of him here today. The kind of track where you can ride loose, you can let the bike do the talking for you, you can drift it out. And again, still doubling out stuff there, still having a blast, rail in the corner. Be interesting to see if he still goes for maybe the natural triple. So manualing, he's airing to manual, then massive air right there. Let's see if he goes the inside. Going the triple right there, kind of casing it a bit into that hip jump. Throwing it sideways, getting nasty on that bike.
The style master. You know, doing it without the chain. Brendog finishing up. Not going to be able to challenge it. Taking a look back up top. Here we go. Plate number 24. That's Needles.
Well, Needles coming in right here. You can hear him clicking through the gears as he's picking up his pace down there. Always a friendly face here at Crankworx. It's good to see him back out here and healthy last year. Having a few injuries, which isn't good. Back in 2011, he got first in the Air DH in Whistler, which dethroned Brian Lopes, who won it year after year after year.
I think that was 6 in a row for Lopes until that moment right there.
An insane amount, but Neethling right there looking like he's coming down. So only 1.10 back. Looking good right now. Needles, though, he puts in the work in the offseason. Let's see if he can make up a bit of time down through the bottom part of the track here. Last year, he had that hand injury, which can cause trouble over the years if you don't get it healed right and you don't get all the physical therapy on it done properly. Hand injuries are no fun thing to try and deal with. So see if he can stay away from the arm pump if he's got the bike set up correctly here. We saw Brendog having a blast through the bottom part here. Let's see what the split says. He's coming in. Okay, he's lost a little bit of time, Brad, 2.13 back. So Walker might be weathering the storm a little bit right now.
Yeah, dodging yet another bullet. Matt Walker doing his thing. He's still in the lead also for the King of Crankworx and securing the top time right now, still with a 2:44.38 as we're running out of competitors here. What do we got? 7 more to go to wrap things up. Matt Walker, you feeling comfortable out there? You liking it? No, he's not feeling comfortable out there because he knows who's coming up, Tristan.
He knows what is coming. He's got them fingers crossed there, big smile on his face. And no stranger to the trails here, so I don't know. I mean, this could be one of those little storybook endings right now with the next riders.
And now we go up to numero uno right there, Blanky. Sam Blankenship, the Kiwi. Now it's up to him, the Norco Factory Racing Team member.
Yeah, I mean, he won the DH Crankworx Series Championship last year through consistency. He got 4th here last year, just off the podium. So you know he's want to go one up on that. He's going to be racing a bunch of the Enduro World Series this year, which is going to be great to see him out. And he had a blast earlier this week.
Yeah, he got 4th place in the Giant Toa Enduro earlier this week. So just narrowly missing the podium there. So a good finish here could help his cause too.
Yeah, part of his training program as the clock's ticking away here. What's it going to say? Okay, 0.23 up. So he is in touch right now. He's ahead. He's got to keep it together, though. That is not a lot of time to play with, Brad. One false corner there, one slowdown. That is not going to be good. So Matt Walker going to be breathing heavy for the next little bit here. It was Blinky hucking off the last bit of the woodyard right there.
And you can see the reaction. There's Matt Walker. There's Blanky. Walker on the right, the top section of your screen. Matt Walker with a 2:33.32.
So Blinky getting the double up top. Let's see if he goes for the triple. He was getting so loose through practice, extending it 0.49 right now up into the hip jump.
Here we go. Here comes Blanky. Check the time. Check the time for Blanky. 2:43.71. Say hello to first place for Sam Blankenship, the Kiwi. Having a good one right there, and that's going to bump Matt Walker down to 2nd, and Blanky on top with a 2:43.71. Wow, right there. And you look at what's coming up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 more racers to go to upset the balance. I think we can get a chance to have a quick word with Blanky right now. Send it down to Hannah Bernard. Hannah?
All right, you just took over the top spot, knocking off your fellow Kiwi. How confident are you feeling right now, Sam?
Not really that good. I was a bit rusty on the track, but yeah, I pushed near the bottom. Didn't really get a good warm up that I wanted at the top, but the track was so sick. I was aiming not to crash, and I didn't crash, so it was a wild run, but however, I'm happy.
All right, well, the hot seat is waiting for you, Sam. Best of luck.
Cheers.
Oh, you gotta love it right now. You look at what's going on. New Zealand 1 and 2 right now. Blanky in the #1 spot, 2:43.71. Matt Walker in second, 2:44.38. And Elliott Jackson on course, the man who claimed second out here last year.
Yeah, that is true. And look at him. He is in touch right now. Only 0.29 back. This was the result he got last year. Kind of came out of nowhere with it. It shocked us. It shocked him.
It shocked him for sure.
You know, he's racing all year long. He came out of retirement a couple years ago after some health issues. It's great to see him back out here. It's a guy that makes the most amazing bike park videos because he sends all the gaps that nobody thought was possible. Every time he comes to Crankworx Whistler, he's doing something we've never seen. Let's see if he can keep it up. He's coming down here. We're waiting for that next split. He was only a hair back. Okay, so falling a little bit back. 0.98, Brad, so having some issues down through the woodyard there. Not going as big as I would have thought he would. He's a guy that loves any bit of airtime.
Elliott Jackson, second place last year, third place this year, 2:44.90 for the American Elliott Jackson. Still New Zealand 1 and 2. Blanky with the time to beat right now at 2:43.71. Matt Walker just off that with a 2:44.38. But let's take a look at the entire leaderboard here and show you how it's breaking down thus far here in your Rotorua Downhill presented by IXS.
Yeah, looking at that right there. Elliott Jackson in that third spot with a nice solid run. Matt Walker sitting in second here again. He's your points leader right now for King of Crankworx. And Sam Blenkinsop running that #1 plate for a reason, Brad, because he won the title last year. But there's a few more guys still to come. And we got Brooke McDonald dropping in next, the other Kiwi rider here from just down the road in Hawke's Bay. Completely new program this year, doing it for the GT Factory Racing team. So changing up the personnel, changing up the bike. Let's see if it changes up a result. Getting the pre-jump into the road crossing as he comes down into Rock and Arolla here. Looking good through that first rock garden, just holding on the Bulldog, not afraid of anything here. Getting the braking early, keeping the momentum through that flat corner. And he's coming up to the split. What is the clock gonna say? And he's up. He's up by over 1 second right there. 1.13. He's keeping the momentum going. So riding things out here, coming down into the next wooden bridge, hucking it to the inside, but still keeping the flow going. This is the kind of result he's going to need right now. Him and Blinkus have been training all week long here. They were doing the enduro earlier on this week, doing the whip off. Now they're out here, the buddies, doing the downhill. What's he got through the last section here? He's committing the whole way down, keeping his momentum going. More time right there. 1.45 Rotorua.
Check the time here for Brooke McDonald, the Bulldog on a flyer. Can he keep it up and go Kiwi 1, 2, 3, a 2:41.96. Brooke McDonald in the #1 spot. Blanky #2. Matt Walker #3. Right now it's New Zealand 1, 2, 3. And still to go. We got 4 more to go. 4 more racers to go, but I think we got to check in with Hannah Bernard. She's standing by and see if we can get a word with the Bulldog.
Rightfully so. You're quite out of breath, but you just stepped into the #1 spot. Talk to me about your last race.
Yeah, I'm stoked. Had a pretty big crash in my last one, so it kind of screwed me around with my head a little bit, but I just cleared that and put together a pretty solid run. So my teammate, when Masters told me to keep it smooth, and I did that. So yeah, I'm stoked.
Your time is a 2:41.96. How confident do you feel up top right now?
I mean, there's still a lot of fast guys to come down, so we'll see when the last guy comes down. I just want to give a big shout out to everyone in my iLab shirts. Thanks for rocking them.
All right, best of luck.
Well, can he withstand the challenge? That's the deal here. But you look at what Brooke McDonald did. He's 1.75 ahead of Blanky. That's a lot of time right there. 2:41.96. But you got McKenna. You got Marcelo Gutierrez coming up. Look, Bruni and George Brannigan all still to come. And this is sick McKenna on course.
Yeah, let's not worry about the other guys. Let's just worry about McKenna. He's got 7 Crankworx podiums throughout his career. First in the Air DH back in 2015 last year. So no stranger to going fast. But let's take a step back. He got second back in the Worlds in 2000 as a junior, Sierra Nevada, and he is in touch there, 0.40 back. So if he really risks it through the last little bit here, he can gain that time back. And it's great to see Mick out here. He loves what we do here at Crankworx. Always feeling that we have the best tracks, the best organization, helping out the riders, giving them everything that we can. And Sick Mick looking good through the woods there, and it's great to see him back healthy. Last year, injuries, you know, and getting bitten by the track there, doubling out of that, and just tagging the front wheel, going over the bars, getting huck-to-buck right there, Brad. Good to see him up in one piece, but
what could have been Tristan Merrick for that man right there, because he was in touch with that time. And unfortunately, that's the way it goes. Sometimes you pull it off, sometimes you go down. And that one's not going to work out for McKenna. Just glad that he is okay. So McKenna out of the contention now, but you still got Kiwis 3, 2, and 1. But I tell you what, we got to see if we can take a look at that crash.
Well, look at him right there, blowing out to the side. So maybe he just lost the front wheel off the side. It was just out of camera view. Which, you know, he was pushing hard today. He wanted redemption. Last year, he got the flat tire, Brad. If we recall, he was supposed to be the last rider down the hill. Got a flat. This year, having the crash right there. So not a nice thing to see. Good to see him up in one piece. The last thing we want to do is see somebody, any of our riders get injured, especially Sick Mick.
Yeah, and you know what? We saw him have a rough year, a rough go at it in 2015, so we're glad he's okay on that one. Look at those Kiwi flags right there, Tristan. 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, using the power of home turf to their advantage right now. So Matt Walker is on the bubble in that 3rd position. So if anybody comes down, knocks him down, it means less points overall towards that King of Crankworx title that he's trying to work for here.
And now we go down to just 3 riders left to stand in the way of the Bulldog taking the win out here with that 2:41.96. It's going to be Marcelo Gutierrez now on course. The Colombian doing it for Giant Factory Racing. 4th at the Canadian Open in 2015. 1st in the Garbo DH last year. So Marcelo knows what it takes to put out a fast time.
Yeah, well, he's your 3-time Garbo DH winner and 5 consecutive podiums right there. Wow. And his first time down here in Rotorua. I was chatting him to the other day. He said he's just been loving this course. He was excited to come down here. He's watching videos beforehand because there's so much history behind this track. And he's out of touch, though, 0.87 back. But this guy trains hard all year long. Look at him on the pedals right there, keeping things going. Getting that GoPro going on the top of the helmet there to record his run, see where things maybe go wrong or where he's going to win the race, see if he can make up some time down into the bottom part of the track here. He's always strong on the longer race courses, but this is a real short one here, Brad, so you got to make it count. Maybe a little different line right there, up and over the grass. Let's see what he's got down through the bottom part of the track here. He's going to risk it, getting the triple into the hip jump. So blowing out wide to the side there, keeping it as a double, and then up into that hip jump. Getting the ET going right there.
Well, here we go. Marcelo Gutierrez from Colombia coming across his time. 4th place, 2:44.56. So you still got New Zealand 1, 2, and 3 right now. Now, he seemed like he had a chance to reel it in off that first split time, but then he lost more time towards the bottom, Tristan.
Yeah, I'm not too sure exactly where it went wrong. You can see him nose tap off the woodyard there. So pre-jumping, tapping that front tire, getting the double right there, and you can see hitting the hole, so it threw him out way to the side. He was expecting to go straight off that because he was set up far to the right, and it threw him far over to the left. So roost in the corner there, but that means he was offline, not necessarily where he was wanting to go. So, I mean, he's still a strong result there, sitting in that 4th position, but that's not what he came here for. None of these guys come here to be off the podium. They don't come here for seconds and thirds. They come here for the win. That is what they get paid for. But that sets the stage for us right now, Brad.
Well, you look at Brooke McDonald. He's definitely not comfortable right there because he knows there's two guys coming up. Look, Bruni, who won this thing last year. He won it in France. Did not show up to Whistler. But can he go back-to-back wins? Only time's going to tell, Tristan.
Well, this is a really big day here for Loic. He's got that number 2 on the back, but he's under a completely different program this year. Brad switching things up. He's on Team Specialized this year. So getting the pre-jump into that. But a whole new bike, tires, a lot of new personnel that he's working with in his corner there, testing stuff. So seeing him slowing down, maybe smashing a rock a little bit hard there. We're going to have to see if he can back it up. Any time is good between the tape here. So this is a test race for him here. First time in these new colors, racing on this stage. And he's up. He's up by almost 3 seconds. 2.50. Let's see if he can keep stretching things out here. He's been pretty elusive all week long, doing his practice, but not hanging out in the evening. Pre-jumping into that Woodyard Bridge right there. Staying smooth, showing exactly why he won here last year. And let's see what he's got for us here in the last section, down into Schlatters. So Roos in that corner, through the ruts, through the Rebel. And look at him. It looks like he is fast forward right now, taking the risk. He's extending it, 3.09 up right now.
How about this? Look, Bruni, here he comes. Here comes Bruni. Back-to-back wins last year on the Crankworx World Tour. And you're no later, a 2:38.77 for Loic Bruni. Solid stuff. And that just changed things up from the New Zealand sweep. That's going to bump Brooke McDonald down to second. Blanky's going to go to third. Walker is now going to go to fourth. Marcello is bumped to fifth. And that's your top 5. But Bruni, 2:38.77. That's 3.19 off Brooke McDonald's time. Hannah, take it away, my girl.
All right, well, I'm having a bit of deja vu. I remember talking to you last year, and you ended up taking home the gold. Oh, you want to give me a hug? Okay. That's all good. How do you feel right now? How do you feel with your run there?
I feel good. You know, the first corner was tricky and the first run of the season, really. So you had to be in a good mood. And I did a smooth run and tried to roll down the hill pretty smooth and fast. And even if the track was really rough, I did a good run, so I'm happy.
All right, so last year we had a bit of rain, so it was a bit more tacky dirt, a bit of changing conditions coming into this race today. What did you have to change up going into this race?
You know, I changed everything compared to last year, bike, tires, a lot of stuff. And yeah, it was really loose. Just had to find the flowy lines and don't push too much because it was the limit was really close in between going fast and crashing. So I'm stoked I'm staying on the bike.
Just one more rider to come. Congratulations so far.
Well, and that one more rider happens to be George Brannigan, the #1 qualifier. This is a guy who won the Air DH yesterday. So here's a guy who's been on fire out here. We'll check the time as he comes towards that first split.
Yeah, another one of the riders, full new program this year, switching up bike brand. So riding for Common Cell, so 0.91 back. He's still in touch though, Brad. This can happen. It's a guy who rides the bike so wild. Only one of the only non-Frenchie on the Common Cell team here. So getting the inside, getting that line right there, keeping things moving. Let's see if he can keep the ball rolling and coming down. So pre-jumping into that last section of the Woodyard. Now coming through the moguls there, cutting off the corner. Oh, looking like he maybe got bit by a bit of a rut there. Looking like he slowed things down. What's the split going to say as he's coming down to the bottom part of the track, losing a bit of speed, but launching the triple out there, Brad.
And here we go. He's out of contention for that time. It doesn't look like he's going to challenge it. George Brannigan, where is he going to end up? Second place, 2:41.20. So Loic Bruni is going to take the win with a 2:38.77. George Brannigan's going to grab second with that 2:41.2. And Brooke McDonald will grab, rounding out the top 3 with a 2:41.96. That's how it's stacking up right there. Any surprises to you on that one? Loic doing just what he does every year.
No, the scary thing, there was no surprise with that. I mean, great to see Loic back up there, even though he changed a bunch of off-season things. And a bunch of Kiwis look at that, though, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way through. And these guys are all buds. They all hang out, practice, have a great time, and shred all the time, Brad.
Well, I'll tell you what, we got things coming up for you, but congratulations right there. Loic Bruni taking the big win with a 2:38.77. How gold is sweet it is, man. Good job, Loic Bruni. We'll be right back with more.
I'm the baddest mother up in here, and I'm about to make it clear. It's going down like I told you. I'm the baddest mother up in here. I'm gonna rock you. I'm gonna rock you. I'm gonna rock you. I'll have you begging for mercy, begging for mercy. Oh, I'm dangerous.
30,000 trails in your pocket. Crankworx. Download the free app now.
Crankworx Rotorua brought to you by SRAM, passionate about cycling. And also brought to you by, famously, Rotorua, New Zealand's coolest hotspot. And by Whistler Mountain Bike Park. Early bird bike park passes on sale through June 10th. And what an amazing final day here of action for your Crankworx Rotorua Downhill, presented by IXS. Brad J, Tristan Merrick, the captain, up here in the booth. And let's take a look at how things stacked up. And Loic Bruni doing it yet again, back-to-back years here in New Zealand.
Yeah, very impressive there. New bike this year, and not showing that he slowed down whatsoever. But, I mean, you look at that right away afterwards, full Kiwi domination. But a Frenchman winning here on Kiwi soil. Now let's look at this run again. Looking strong out of the gate. And again, when they raced Worlds here last time, he wasn't racing here. He's a young gun to the scene, so much history on this track. But just flowing through that there. He's been putting in the testing in the offseason, getting the pre-jump into the downside there. It's vertical. I rode that the other day, and I wouldn't want to be pre-jumping into that, because if you miss cue, things could go really wrong. You can see there, looking fast and smooth through that rock garden. He's railing things out, getting on the brakes, keeping it to the inside, pushing a little bit wide there on it, but did not make a difference with that time. Staying low over the jumps. No unnecessary airtime for this guy. He is here to make money, pay bills, race bikes, and have fun.
But the consistency of Loic just seems amazing. Year after year, he comes out, you know, he won it here last year, then he won it in France, and he comes out here back-to-back years, and he's done it yet again out here in Rotorua.
Yeah, well, Loic, come to Whistler, buddy. Come to Whistler this year. Try your hand at that. You don't want to give away that title by 25 points to anybody else this year. But look at him through the bottom section here, Brad. He was significantly faster than everybody else. He had the lines. He was confident with his choice. He means he's been putting in the runs. He did not overanalyze anything. He just let the track come to him. and he went real fast while he's doing it.
Very good point. Tristan Merrick right there. Loic Bruni coming away with a big win, 2:38.77, and just smashing that time with that. Look at that, 2.43 above George Brannigan, who was his closest competitor in that second spot, and Brooke McDonald falling out in third, and he was 3.19 ahead of Brooke. And Sam Blanky in that fourth spot, and Matt Walker rounding out in 5. So you can see Yannick Greneri congratulating him right there, fellow Frenchman. Taking a look right now, this is how it's stacking up for the king of Crankworx. Matt Walker still large and in charge in that 2.65, Tristan.
Yeah, you can see Loic there jumping up into 6, but Walker extending his points lead here. Slavic not here, Thomas Lemoyne not here, but Blinkensop creeping up, which means it's going to have to go the full distance. So Matt Walker, 265 points, looking good going into that next stop in Leger.
Yeah, 75 points above Slavic right there in second, and Lemoyne also tied with him in that second spot, where I'll tell you what, we have Hannah Bernard standing by with Matt Walker, your current leader. Let's send it downstairs right now. Hannah?
Thanks very much, Brad. Yes, but with the conclusion of the downhill race here at Crankworx Rotorua, that means that Matt Walker is the top contender for the King of Crankworx title. So, Matt, how do you feel right now coming out of this stop?
Yeah, really stoked actually. Is kind of a goal this year is with having the proper support of sponsors that give me a bike to ride and everything. I'm not scrounging to borrow bikes before, like the day before the event sort of thing. So yeah, it was a goal of mine to sort of try to get as many points for the overall as I could, and hopefully it keeps rolling.
Now, you won Enduro this week, you got third in pump track, and now you got a 5th place finish here in the downhill. What's going to be your strategy going into the next 2 stops on the World Tour here?
Yeah, same again, I guess. Just sort of try to do as many events as I can and just keep giving it a nudge to get some points, really, eh?
What kind of events do you think you're going to go into in Leger?
Yeah, anything I can, I'll give it a go to go. So, yeah, just spend a bit of time on the hardtail, get everything flowing, and, yeah, dial it in a bit.
Well, I think that's a good strategy, going for King of Crankworx. Matt Walker, the top contender for the King of Crankworx title.
Well, he has done what he can do, and he's doing it all right. Now when you're in large and in charge in there and you're doing it right all the way to the King of Crankworx, and you got 2 more stops to go, all you got to do, focus on it and keep the task at hand focused. That's what he's doing right there. Keep your stick on the ice. Here's how things are looking for the ladies, for the queen of Crankworx. Look at the lead Jill Kittner has over Casey Brown right there. That's pretty big.
Don't gloat about it, Brad. Don't gloat about it. You like that color. You like that flag up there on the top. But Casey Brown, you know what? Lots of events still to go here this season. This is just the first stop on the World Tour. But, I mean, Jill is going to be coming each and every round we go to.
All right, speaking of Jill Kittner, let's send it down to Hannah. She's catching up with our current leader for the Queen of Crankworx. Hannah?
All right, well, Jill made history. She was the first woman to win gold at the dual speed and style here in Crankworx Rotorua. She also took home the gold in pump track, and now she just took home the gold in the downhill. Jill, you're leading the contending for Queen of Crankworx. How do you feel right now?
Yeah, that was such a good weekend. I'm really excited. Definitely did a few new things here with the wood ramps and the speed and style, and this downhill course was like dry and loose and fast. So yeah, switching around 3 bikes and getting 3 wins, you couldn't really ask for much better than that. So good start to the year for sure.
Absolutely. Now, I asked Matt this question. Do you have a strategy going into it? Do you kind of pull back in certain events to make sure that you're healthy, or do you go full-blown the whole time?
Yeah, I liked his answer. Actually, he was talking about machine gun tactics, just spraying it everywhere. No, I try and win as many as I can, and downhill takes a lot of energy, so I kind of try and manage my energy throughout the week, and I had a really great mechanic, Tris, help me out this weekend, so and Britton here for support. So it's good to have a good team that can alleviate some of the, like, I don't know, day-to-day just time suck energy things. So yeah, I don't know, just be as fresh as you can be and go for it.
Well, the next stop is Leger. Best of luck in the rest of the World Tour. Jill Kittner, your current leader for Queen of Crankworx.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's an amazing weekend. Like she said, you couldn't ask for a better weekend. You think about last year, her weekend last year was not even close to this one.
Yeah, she didn't make it to the weekend last year, Brad, so great to see her make it all the way through. And again, though, look at that domination right across the board there. Great win margin. But Casey Brown coming away third, Tracy Hanna in that second, but 4.84 seconds. Maybe sending a bit of a message to the rest of the competitors there that, you know what, Jill can qualify first, and she can take first here when it comes to downhill.
Well, you said it. Got those demons off her back and did it in a big way out here for sure. All right, we talk about Crankworx as a World Tour. Of course it is. We're not done with just one stop, and we're not done being in Whistler too as well, because that's in August. But we got another one coming up here Leger. Let's talk about Leger. That's our next stop there, Tristan.
Yeah, I can't wait to get back to that land there. And again, the Frenchies will be using their home soil to try and dominate everybody else, as we've seen from the Kiwis here this week, Brad. And there's so much history going on back there in Leger. They had Worlds back there. Fabian Burrell won the downhill. Now we're bringing slopestyle on all the other bands here to get the circus going with all the other events. So it should be great.
There's your dates, June 15th through the 19th. Make your plans, book your plane ticket, and join us out there. Leger, that is the second stop, Crankworx World Tour. Well, final thoughts. It's been an amazing weekend, but what are your final thoughts here, Tristan?
My final thoughts are, what a way to finish up here with the downhill race. A historic track, legendary status, the riders laying it all on the line for the fans at home and for the fans here. And, of course, Loic walking away with that #1 win there. So very fitting. It's like deja vu all over again from last year, Brad.
One of the things that stands out is what you said about, you know, maybe the Frenchies are going to try and use that to their advantage when they're in Leger in June, but I think that's what happened with the Kiwis out here in New Zealand. They used this as their advantage. They took advantage of it, and a lot of the Kiwis in those top spots all the way through.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's going to be great to see how the rest of the season unfolds. The story is getting written right now. Chapter 1 done. Chapter 2 and 3 still to come.
Well, thanks for joining us out here. Join us in Leger. That's going to be stop number 2. For everything about Crankworx, go to crankworx.com. On behalf of our entire Crankworx crew, thanks for being part of it. Goodbye from Rotorua, New Zealand.